evening, and it's a very cold evening here in Kampala. Welcome back to the Tonny and Tim show. I'm Tonny.
And I'm Tim.
And we had a very splendid Easter weekend, of course, here. Very brilliant football. We had it wrapping up on Sunday evening. Chelsea hosting Spurs there and losing for the first time in 28 years at the bridge.
Yes, Tony, no one had predicted this, that Chelsea would drop points at home, because we thought they were the hungrier team to look for the 3 points going to this game. But here they lost, and big thanks to the Tottenham coach, Mauricio Pochettino, who delivered the goods, and his boys really played better football, Tony, on the day.
Of course, coming into this team, we knew that there might be some people missing from both teams.
Yep.
We had very late news coming in that Courtois would be missing out in this one.
Yep.
And Willy Caballero, who had a brilliant outing for Argentina in the internationals, came in to deputize for him.
Yep.
But on the other side, Harry Kane had been missing out, and he had said Eriksen and Ali and so on,
yes,
had to have very good games in this one.
Yes, Tony, we really said it, and specifically I thought Dele Alli needed to step up, because he was getting the criticism from England and also within the Premier League, saying he might not make it to Russia. But I think he came back with the goods, and there he was, Tony, delivering as was expected for Dele Alli in this game.
He definitely had a very big performance. But another performer in first half especially, we had a very brilliant goal from Morata, who had not scored in 100 days. It was a very brilliant goal, but a big mistake from the goalkeeper.
Yes, Tony, I wanted to criticize the keeper first. I think Hugo Lloris got it absolutely wrong by misjudging his flight. And then you have to say thanks to Morata. He was able to lift off the ground and try to hang in air.
We've seen him hanging in the air.
Yes, Tony. Yes, Tony. He's a good guy in space. So good game. It's just surprising that it took 100 days to get the next goal from his last. That's a very long time for a good striker, Tony.
Of course, we know he came with a very big pay. Of course, 75 million it was to get him from Real Madrid. Yes. He hasn't had a bad season, but of course he has been having the inconsistencies. But it was also a very brilliant cross from Victor Moses, that one.
Yes, Tony, it was a brilliant cross. I mean, any cross that leads into a goal usually becomes good, because you're able to track back to what happened before the goal. So I love the cross too. But as you say, the equalizer to that goal, Tony, from Eriksen, was an amazing goal. Wonderful goal. I see it inside top five, Tony, because these balls that seem to be going off target, off the goal, and then they dip back in. You saw how stranded the goalkeeper looked, and I thought it was a brilliant goal by Eriksen.
It was a big performance from Eriksen, a player that we know steps up in good games. Yep. He's not the kind of player, he's kind of player in De Bruyne's mold, yep, but maybe he doesn't get the numbers in terms of assists and goals, yep, and that's why he's probably overlooked many a time. But he's a player that had a very brilliant outing. But Dele Alli had to answer his critics and came back with 2 goals.
Yes, Tony, and I was trying to look at Dele Alli's statistics. There's a way he's able to shine against Chelsea. We've seen before he's had again a double
against big clubs.
Against big clubs, exactly. But we would like to look at his first goal, Tony, the pinpoint cross from Dyer. I didn't know Dyer has that in his locker.
Connection.
Exactly, Tony. He sends his diagonal right from his half, and Dele Alli must have made his mind before shooting, because the first touch yields to the second touch.
This was Dennis Bergkamp.
Exactly.
This was Dennis Bergkamp in play. It was a brilliantly taken goal. Very splendid play from all the Tottenham Hotspur's players. Yep. They came here 28 years without a win. Yep. It must have been playing on their minds, of course, especially when that one goal went in. Yep. But brilliant that they got a goal just before the break for them to be able to come back into this one. What next for Conte, team? His body language in this game, and at the end, he looks a very frustrated man.
Yes, Tony, Conte is frustrated. We all know now it's about days. I think they will allow him to see off the season and then maybe get the sack. We're not sure, will he get the sack first, or will Italy...
Will it be mutual consent?
Exactly. Or will Italy call him up, because around 20th May, Italy will be announcing the new coach. So it's cards that we have to monitor closely. But we can all say Conte is leaving he might leave this club, given that he doesn't take the shots when they're getting the players in. So it's frustrating for coach too. So even mutual consent only can come in if he's to leave.
Of course, now they find themselves 8 points behind Tottenham Hotspur, chasing for a top 4 spot.
Yep.
That's a big game, a big gap
Yep.
at this kind of at this stage in the season. Only 8 games left for most of the clubs there.
Yep.
It's a big problem for Chelsea now. They almost are certainly wrapping up a Europa League place. Keep in mind, Arsenal find themselves just 5 points behind them. It's a bit of a trick, and they still have Liverpool to play in the final games.
Yes, Tony, and that will be, I think, the cementing game to the top 4 teams, which I still think Chelsea has surrendered, because 8 points away from Tottenham is a big gap, Tony. We're now looking at a handful of games, about 6 games to go. You cannot cover that gap easily unless the other team is doing badly. But the worry for Chelsea, Tony, if they're going to play in Europa League, what happens to the players, the likes of Eden Hazard? He wants to go into the cream of the top players, and the cream usually is not saved from Europa, so it will be a worry for the Chelsea club.
But of course, a big positive for Tottenham for trying and keeping that 4th place. Of course, they will be happy to keep, like we said, that going into the new White Hart Lane next season, they will be trying to get that Champions League spot.
Yep.
They find themselves now only 2 points behind Liverpool and just only 4 points behind Manchester United, which is a big place to be in while we come into
it is a big place.
And they have a game against City in the last games, but it might be that City will come into this game after already wrapping up.
City should have taken it off by then.
It's a game that maybe you can give to Spurs, and maybe there will be some extra points there. But of course, it was a big game for everyone at home. Very enjoyable, especially for the neutrals. It was a big London derby, played out, big goals in this one. We saw that very brilliant strike from Eriksen. We definitely enjoyed it, and we thank you for all the feedback that you gave us for that one. All your predictions, we got them, especially all those guys that predicted that Spurs would win this one. We hadn't seen it coming here on the show, and we thank you very much for your feedback. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye.